not going to school in that.
This is the Hyundai iLoad. It's a really big commercial van, and I know what you're thinking. What's he doing in a big van instead of driving around in a genteel hatchback or nice little sports car? Well, I'm not quite sure either, but I'm having fun finding out. Now, the last van I drove was an absolute dog. The pedals were not at an angle that a human could use easily. It was loud, it squeaked, it shrieked. You sat on the engine, which was not only hot, but just felt like if something went wrong, you were going to really miss a certain part of you that was going to come off. And it just was totally unappealing and hateful and slow and gutless and just all these words. I fast forward through because I'm going to chat on. But the iLoad is none of those things. It's a really pleasant car to drive. I mean, that was Freudian. I meant to say van, but it's like a car. You sit normally in a seat that reclines and moves forward and up and down. Yeah, you sit high, and I mean, I've got to say, it's a fantastic view out the front here. You're really not missing out on anything. This rivals any SUV that I've driven. But it doesn't feel like you've got about 17 metres of van behind you, and I think that's, quite an achievement. Of course, it understeers. The ride is atrocious, but it's not built to ride well, and I've been driving it around mostly empty, of course, so once you load it up, the ride improves immensely. The fatigue, though, I imagine, of driving one of these things around all day would be a little depressing, but all in all, a very civilised van. It's very loud, of course. I'm finding myself getting out of this car yelling at people, and they're saying, "What the hell is wrong with you? Why are you shouting?"
The people who buy these are interested in statistics, so here's a few of them. It has 3 doors to access the load bay, which is itself a whopping 4.3 cubic metres. It measures 2,375mm long, 1,350mm high, and is 1,620mm wide, or 1,260mm wide between the wheel arches. It's cavernous.
Of course, we all know what these are mostly used for: plumbers, sparkies, and all sorts of trades. Couriers, helping people move house. But what we thought we'd do, something a little bit different. We thought we'd ask you, the viewer, what you wanted us to see this vehicle could do. And we're quite pleased to say we've had some very interesting ideas. Yes.
Up front, it's comfortable for 2 with a 3rd seat in the middle that might be a challenge for anyone over 5 foot tall. There's a serviceable stereo with USB input and Bluetooth for the phone, both of them with the volume to overcome the inherent noisiness of a commercial van. The engine in this one is the 2.5 CRDI diesel. Paired with the automatic, it's good for 125 kilowatts and a thumping 443 Nm of torque. My advice is to take the automatic. It's got way more torque than the manual and will be a much easier vehicle to live with. It rolls on 16-inch alloys too. For someone who's normally testing a car for how many people I can cram into it comfortably, rather than cubic metres, this was far less of a chore than I expected. For such a big van, it works remarkably well as a 3-seater car, which is good because people who buy these have to spend a lot of time in them. So being comfortable rather than simply bearable must be a good thing.